allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, looks like we have a few changes to the agenda here. Under the consent agenda, we have. Consider the approval of a financial donation from the Lyle American Legion for boys basketball huddle services.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, I was.
Sorry.
Approval of minutes. Consider the approval of minutes of the school board meeting from October 17th, 2022. And also consider the approval of the minutes of the special school board meeting from November 7th, 2022. Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Yep, you'll have to make
second
two
it.
separate motions though.
Okay. So this is for letter A there. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll do another one for B there. Consider the approval of minutes of the special school board meeting from November 7th, 2022. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
job, guys. You Doors 55.
No. Very crystal.
Okay, we got the consent agenda. Consider approval of district policy 722, public data and data subject. review authorization.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't.
It's all.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Community reports, highlights and recognitions.
Yep, so I just want to thank the community and the members who of the staff who put together an absolute fantastic breakfast on Veterans Day, and to the Tammy O'Connor, the student council, the music directors, and everyone who provided their time and efforts in making a fabulous Veterans Day. A wonderful crowd. There was the gym was full, and and then the other one that's not on the list here is, but I want to highlight our Diane Triton, who was the community member of the year, Janelle Achenbach, who was the Lion of the year, and then our teacher of the year, Tammy O'Connor. So congratulations to them. We're working on maybe having some kind of plaque that's hung on the wall for that. We bring up the ones that we still have from many moons ago, and putting that up. So we'll just gotta figure out where, but so congratulations to them. Well deserved.
Seen the plaques too. They're really nice. Turned out good. Yeah.
And the students enjoy, Ryan, who worked on that in Foster last year, they take pride in that particular piece and the secret that they have between the two of them. And I honestly didn't know until even myself, I didn't know. And so.
No, they look nice. Choir did wonderful. It was an awesome song. Any public comments? Nothing. School board committee updates, the negotiations committee.
Actually, nothing for now, for a while. Until, I guess teachers, then our negotiations for admin. I don't know if Corey's included, I can't remember, but mine would be, so.
Legacy committee?
We have the events coming up.
On the 26th.
Christmas in the city.
Yep. Which includes Santa. And lighting on the tree. Wagon ride.
Cookies, little craft
Cookies, little
activities.
crafts. Yeah. So it should be a fun little event. That's from 3 to 5-ish, 5:15-ish.
What else did we talk about? I'm just drawing a blank.
I know there's more. I don't have my notebook.
I know, and that's all I can think of is Christmas and this week.
We'll just
so.
go with that.
Yeah,
We'll go with that. By December, we'll have more.
Yep.
If there's another meeting, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Okay, we have-
I honestly don't think there's anything until like later, a few months from now, so.
Well, we talked about the basketball tournament again a little
We
bit.
did,
Yeah,
yes.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
probably the other thing I was thinking. So, anyway. That's it for us.
Community ed.
We just got done with a meeting, that was actually really quite productive. We still have some events that are coming up here in, we have Berg's Nursery, we've been doing some very successful classes over there that people have really enjoyed.
Great feedback.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. And then there's a couple others that are up in December. Then we started to talk about some ideas of what we could do in January, February, March. And I think some good possibilities,
Mhm.
but they'll just kind of still some work in progress. Early planning stages.
Yep.
So we'll go forward. Maybe trying to get like a babysitting class together.
It's a good idea.
Having Sarah Douglas, if she's willing, do like a cookie decorating class. You know, just get some of those other different things that aren't just,
The babysitting class,
Crafting.
that include like responder training.
no.
It's early in the
Whatever-
planning,
well,
but
Whatever the Y does or Red Cross does, is how it's.
Well,
gonna have to go
I'm-
down.
Just when I took it, it did include those.
I have no idea,
That was like mini moon, you know,
which is why
25
it's in the room.
years ago.
So we'll see. I don't know what it's going to entail. But we're gonna reach out just to the Y and to the Red Cross and see if they have any programs or if they can really bring something down this way.
I love that.
So we'll
Good
see.
idea.
and
Hopeful.
this hasn't been really publicized yet, but we just this week put together a online using Google Forms or whatever, Microsoft Forms, where they can register for the event. And then Janelle and Bradley are working on payment, which I think it's nearly finalized. A method for them to not only sign up on one thing and then go to this link to pay for it. And that completes their registration, so.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Increase the office workload and have that. I just think that'll be so
Easier.
spectacular and.
They don't have to come in the building,
Yeah.
maybe get more participation since they can pay it forward.
Hopeful. I'm
Yeah.
I
hopeful.
think even as a personal blogging myself, like, way easier.
Yeah.
So it should be good.
Finance committee,
Oh, yeah, not that.
LPAC committee.
We did meet last week, talked about some coaches. We had a lengthy conversation about football. And I think that was generally it.
Just had a lengthy talk about transportation too.
Yes, we did. There have been some, and I gotta talk to you about that. There are some things that were brought up to me by the bus drivers about transportation, so we worked those out. That communication will be sent out to the families of athletes. Some possible taking advantage of our shuttle, so we needed to put together some guidelines for that, so.
Good. Facilities committee. Oh, I mean, we should-
Not since the last board meeting, we have no.
Library committee,
We have not met.
SMEC board,
Our next meeting is in, I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks. We're waiting to have a hearing on whether or not we can change, what is it called? The easement? Where you're, the easement or. where it's
Oh,
off-
yeah, there's some easement
Sorry.
situations through Mower County for their shed.
Yeah.
And the well and things like that. There's also a little discussion about the Houston, it's becoming more of a possibility that Houston may, so. I know at a future cabinet meeting that will take place as well, that we can iron out some of those situations and then take it to the board after that. If you guys have any concerns over or question marks that probably less concerns, just more question marks. With them joining the possibility, if you want to get those questions to me and I can have a see what answers we can come up with.
Good. Okay. Ready for the financial report, Bradley.
Just. What's that? We're sitting differently. Oh, that's where I'm sitting. You're sitting differently. Everybody else is more or less in the same spot. Just one thing I'll mention, you know, before I get going on the reports, we're in the middle of health insurance open enrollment. So thank you for having that special meeting and getting that approved, so we can not spend that much more in health insurance. But we'll keep rocking and rolling. I think I've got about a third of employees have now responded with what they want to do. So I got quite a few to track down in the next week for folks. I want everyone to provide an enrollment form, whether they're enrolling or not enrolling.
I can't print it. I can't send it to my printer at home. Is there a form available in the school?
I suppose you can print it here.
Okay, so when I opened up the attachment, it asked me if I wanted to save it to a file. I'm Apple, I know you hate Apple, but it didn't even give me the option to print.
It's just a PDF, so.
I know, but it's an iPad.
Anyway, it's not my form, it's Health Partners form, but
Okay,
that's going on, so we'll be working through that and trying to get everybody enrolled, and we'll figure out where we end up with, you know, who selects what health insurance tier and what that ends up being for us. So, looking at our normal reports, we're running a little behind on state revenues from where we were the last couple of years, which is doesn't make me happy, but we'll keep on that, keep monitoring it as we go. I don't think there's anything in particular that is in those numbers. I think maybe the state had something that is gonna be on a different payment this year than was last year or something. Then on expenditures, we're tracking a little bit ahead of where we were last couple of years, but we've talked about that before with our various summer programs. Kind of started us with a bit of a lead against our budget versus what have been in the last 2 years. Particularly in the areas of salaries. You see that's about a little less than 1% ahead. You know, a couple of capital items too. We have paid for the new plasma router, right?
Mhm.
Amy, I
Yep.
get my terminology right, but a shiny new toy for Jim Hanson's classroom. So that thing's over $30,000, all funded through federal dollars, mind you. But yeah, we paid for that. Don't have the money yet. We'll be reimbursed for that. So that's just one of the things that putting our budget a little further ahead than it's been in some other years. Anybody see anything in particular that they'd like more explanation on in this first page here? All right, flipping to our second page, I want to touch on food service just a little bit. The expenditures are showing quite a bit ahead of where they had been in the past. One reason for that is through October 31st, we've been billed by Taher for September and October labor. So that's like caught up on time. When we run payroll, the October labor, half of that we would have recorded in November when we ran payroll. So we're recording the expenses a little bit faster than what we previously would have. And I think we're 35,000 of revenue that you see there for food service. That's all September meals. So we're showing 2 full months of expenses and 1 month of revenue. So that's where that disconnect comes in there. Fiscal 22 ended up being a really good year because a lot of the reimbursement rates were higher. We also were handing out breakfast at the door. So we got to claim a lot more breakfast meals that way. We outpaced that by about 15% in September with the reimbursements going back to normal. So, very, very encouraging. So, then, other items there, we're right on track with our debt service fund and our community ed fund, through this point in the year. For debt service, we've made our interest payments so far. We've gotten in a good chunk of state aid and property tax levies to cover that and start getting us ready for our next payment coming up in, it's due February 1st, so that's coming down the pipe. Any questions on any of those funds? All right, I'll flip over to our treasurer's report. Holding pretty steady on cash. Got a nice balance there, a little shy of $1.5 million. And we're currently investing about $750,000 of that, so that's it's nice to have some money to invest with and not have to be worrying about triaging our bills and what we absolutely have to pay or don't have to pay. So that's doing good right now. Looking at our payments up next. See what we got. You see a negative 7,600. That's from, had a check that never made it. We actually had a couple of those lately, which is making me a little frustrated, but that one was a large one, so 7,600 from McGraw-Hill that never made it to its destination. Believe it or not, McGraw-Hill really wanted that money coming. I mentioned the plasma router that's on your screen there for Midwest 3D Solutions, $30,399. We paid our first quarterly payment for SMEC's itinerant staff. So that's there for $51,339.08. On the third page, you'll see another McGraw-Hill. That's another big number there. That's actually rewriting the same check again. So that's another 6,700 there. We've been paying for deposits on trips. So you see an EF Explore America. That's the New York/DC trip. Selinsky flooring on there. That's the carpeting in the office. So walking around in there feels good. So, and then of course Talker's on there for food service. That's our October expenses. Any questions on any of the bills there that you see that I mentioned or didn't mention?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Sorry.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Reports and presentations.
All right. All right, a couple things tonight. There's been some illnesses going around. I'm gonna go right to that. Today, Nurse Barb had to file a report with the state once you get to a certain percentage, just to file for, we had, she said this week we've had over 30 kids out each day with symptoms that are similar to influenza. So we just we need to look at if there's anything we can do to mitigate that. We have those filters, those air purifiers that, but unfortunately, they're not at home either, so on buses, so unfortunately, that's being passed around, so. But Nurse Barb did say that in October, on a positive thing, we had a dental clinic come in for students, parents signed them up for cleaning, x-rays and referrals. 21 students were seen, 9 of those students needed referrals to a specific dentist. So, fortunate that Barb puts that together and works with the community to provide that for the kids who probably wouldn't get it normally. And then she does have one scheduled for April 3rd for another one, so. Okay, so that's that. Yesterday, the students 7 or 8 through 12 went to the Christmas Carol at the Guthrie. It was well received. A lot of the kids that you wouldn't normally think that they would probably enjoy it, they probably didn't want to admit that they enjoyed it, but at least they didn't have anything bad to say about it. So it was neat to see that the staff said they were for the most part well behaved and represented us well. One of the concerns, and I know that I just want to bring this to you, that we have this time of year, it just seems harder. And you might see this in other schools, and I've probably have talked about this, but just the well-being of our students. There's been, just the struggles within our society and economy in the area. There are some students out there who are struggling, and then we have a very caring staff that devotes a lot of time into helping them, and sometimes it weighs on them as well. I can see that in the faces of the staff that do that, and it's heartbreaking to do some of that stuff, but it's as I told them today, I said, remember they carry a lot of that home, and then you made a difference today, so always remember you do the stuff you do, even though it doesn't seem like it does pay off. I will have a couple things that Corey she was not feeling well tonight, so she's just texted me some things. She talked about I'll just read what she said about the Christmas Carol. She said a huge thank you goes out to Miss Flink on her careful organization and planning this fantastic opportunity for our students. She was able to see it and she enjoyed it. And I think she even pointed out how a lot of these kids probably will never get it up. They'll never go to another one, or much less even make it to the Twin Cities. So, we had to, due to some conflict, we did have to change our Christmas. I think it's in our notes here, the Christmas Carol. I didn't update that on the agenda, so we will get that out. But the holiday concert, we're having all in one night. So Wednesday, December 4th. She wanted to thank the basketball teams for their adjustment for that. So I believe one's at 6 and the other one's at 7:15, I believe. So
You said Wednesday, December 4th?
14.
14th.
14th, okay.
Thank you for correcting me. Sorry, December 14th. And then I mentioned about Miss O'Connor. Okay, so that was her thing. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, so I attended, I want to thank you guys as a board for, allowing me to attend the superintendent certification. Again, I don't even know how many more meetings I have for the next 18 months. But it was, the first 2 days was, it was very impactful and meaningful for me, just kind of putting some things in my role in perspective, and just sitting in a room with 30 other soups, some of them who have been through the training, and just learning the one who's the main trainer, nationally recognized superintendent, was in Green Bay, Mason City. Just his insight is very helpful. And one of the projects to do this is for the certification, I put together a capstone, and I've kind of debated on one things, and I kind of talked to some of you individually about this, is looking at a kind of a facilities putting it all in perspective of what the things we've spent a lot of money over the last, in my time on making some improvements in the building, and some of it has been federal dollars. Some of it has been, taxpayers' money, and I want to put together a listing of some of that stuff so we can communicate to the community about how we've spent some of that money. Like Bradley said, the thing in Mr. Hanson's class, yeah, we spent 31,000 for it, but that was all paid through federal funds, and that they should know that. The other thing is, and this kind of goes into my other aspect, is that the building that we're in right now is about 16 years old. The older part is 66 years old. Dave and Chad are aware of this. It just seems like there are little things that are popping up at this point that make us wonder, like, what's going on? And this sounds really weird, and maybe it sometimes feel like the building's talking to me, saying, pay attention to me, what's going on? And we've had conversations about landscaping, and one of the ideas that I've brought this up to Bradley, is being that our building is at that age, would it be a good idea to do a facilities assessment? To have a outside company come in and review all of our features. I've had people come in from Homeland Security. I talked to you about that, about security. We've had Custom Alarm come in for the door entrances and giving me ideas and ideas what it would cost to do things. Comtech for our radios, but we also have just the facility itself with all the systems, and it is something that I myself could do, but I'm no expert at knowing the longevity of some of this stuff. A facilities assessment is not cheap. SMEC just approved it. Theirs is going to be about $9,000. Some schools have done it, and with the intention that they're going to do a referendum. None of us at this table want to talk about referendum, but I don't want to get to a point where we get surprised when something comes up. And so I don't know if maybe there's another way to do this where we don't have to spend that money on a facilities assessment, but it might be something that it's easier to forecast our facility needs with more information. Bradley has mentioned when he's talked about the long-term facilities, he's like, throwing some numbers at that. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, just because I think we need to do a better job of having a plan in place so that we're not surprised by the gym floor, we've had some things brought up with this gym floor. We don't want to be, some of those a lot of the things that are coming up are minor, but they add up. So
what are some of the minor things that are coming up?
Well, for instance, the gym floor. So the multi-purpose room where the volleyball stands are. And with all the daily cleaning, all of a sudden we noticed that it was the base inside was starting to become brittle, which was going to be a hazard, especially during basketball. Someone could step on that and hurt their ankle. So we are, addressing that. Scott noticed that the wall in the gym, I don't know, there's like a little gap that maybe has always been there, but we've noticed that. The water system, the water issue that we had this fall with the roof, even though we've never figured out what that situation was. It's just little, even then, and drawing a blank on some more, I know there's more, but part of my thing is to put together a plan that we can, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in concrete, but we can have a much better conversation knowing that, hey, in a year, we probably should start saving for this, or in 5 years, we're going to push this thing off in 5 years. We've had conversations about the greenhouse. We've had conversation about space at facilities. So I don't want to spend the money that it requests to do a facilities. I don't, but I wanted to at least have the conversation with you guys to see, is this something that we should at least consider, or at least do we want to find out what it would cost to do something like that? And then what in the end would we get out of the deal? I know Bradley agreed in our conversations for $9,000. that's extent, I don't know if that's worth it, but maybe it would, depending on the situation, on what the information we get. I don't know if you have any insight to add to that, but
And that was Schmeck probably. That's the
yeah,
size of Schmeck
and that's a
building.
newer building too, and that's
So we're
why,
talking- we're probably talking 18
Yeah.
to 20,000
Yeah.
at least for this, at least.
and
probably.
that's a hugely significant amount of money, but. Or is there a better system that we could just do it in-house to get it at least a ballpark to know what is coming down the line? I know predictive is really good at giving us some information, but I think we've asked, what will like, how long will the HVAC systems and sometimes heat cans,
To be fair, I don't think anybody else is gonna be able to give us a straight answer on that either.
which is
Yeah,
true,
you're-
which is
Somewhere
true.
between, 3 and 15 years. So
Yeah.
Kind of where our range is on that.
And that's
you know,
just,
but,
and that's just the way they are. You just don't know when they're gonna go.
yeah, I think what Jamie's talking about, what I like about the idea is finding the things that we haven't spotted yet, that we aren't thinking about, that somebody who does that regularly would look at.
Have we ever done, I mean, I'm newer, so have we ever done a facility check
No,
ever?
well, probably not, at least since this part of the building was built. I'm sure there was some sort of an assessment done to determine what the needs were to build the new building.
Right.
But probably nothing since then. Certainly nothing in 6 years.
Guess the other thing, I guess, was what I'm thinking is we could kind of pick the building apart. And have somebody that actually does the work, do the evaluation.
Each piece separate.
Each piece separate, so like the roofer, I do know that should have some attention and it'll probably make the roof last longer. I mean, that's kind of one of my things. Is building structure itself. It pays, I've just found out through what we do, to have them come in once in a while and just give it a good look over, give you an estimate, and they'll tell you what you need to do to make that roof last longer. As far as inside structure, cracks or, anything like that that shows stress on the building.
Well, for that,
If you don't mind, I can run through it too. I can put another set of eyes on it.
and with the gym wall, Surdy, Joel had contacted Surdy to come out. They're the ones who did the caulking last year to give the same premise.
Yeah,
In essence, we've kind of started that with just looking at the custom the doors and how we can provide better security and things like that. So
So maybe that's how we look at it. It's like, I don't know how our windows are looking, but maybe you get a window person in here, but they want to replace them.
that's unfortunately, that's a facility that whoever we were to choose, in the back of their mind, they're gonna be like, okay, how will this benefit us in the long term?
But
Them, not us, but.
but maybe I know what you're saying is like, what are we missing that we're not seeing is your worry, right?
Mhm.
But
But they'll be able to identify some of those things that are probably like, you guys are
If they're
probably gonna
reliable.
need to address this, in a couple of years for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
might be able to
I
at
don't
least
know.
predict, say,
Yeah,
hey.
right.
good and
at
bad.
least.
I
Sometimes
know.
you can get a generic answer that it gives you guidance, but it
like
It's throwing money out
like
the-
the units up top, it's like,
or
it's like buses, how long you wanna run it,
I feel really lousy if we did a $10,000 study and they were able to give you roughly the same answer that I'm able to give you off the top of my
Yep.
head.
Yeah.
Every time I present that
That would be
long-term
my
facility
worry.
study.
Exactly.
Say, well, we're gonna have to replace the roof at some point. And we're gonna have to replace a bunch of HVAC units. And, we could do carpets and we could do walls and we could do all sorts of stuff, but. So, I mean,
So quotes are usually free. I mean, like the things that we know, would it be better to look at getting quotes for the things that we know? And then looking at that and then versus a facility overall?
it's kind of a yes and no. So the vendors are gonna get frustrated with us if we say, hey, quote us for a roof replacement. And they come out here and they look at it and they're like, you don't need a roof replacement. Well, we know, we just wanna know what it's gonna cost. 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'd be on, if you're careful about how we approach some of that. You know, but if there's a realistic prospect of a project in the near term, yeah, that's okay. Like if we're talking about flooring, you know, we just did the office. Here's another room that has roughly the same carpet. You know, there are a few others that are like that. We bring in flooring people to say, what would it cost for this? They're gonna be okay with that.
So one thing that if we did it on our own, we'd have to have multiple people involved just because I would have probably forgot this carpet to just get an estimate of what, okay, in comparison to square footage to that, this is what it would
Right.
cost to replace this one. You know, it's just, there might be little things that we won't notice. So, and granted, are they gonna miss everything? They probably have a checklist they would go through that would give us an idea. It's nothing, they're, you know, obviously, whatever list they have, they're gonna have in a nice booklet and it'll look pretty. But it's not gonna be anything, you know, unless they can say, yeah, you have 2 years on this one specific thing, okay?
Do we need to find out what it costs before we say no? You know what I mean?
Well, in talking with Craig English, who's our IEA guy, comes in and does our pre-OSHA stuff, he said, you know, they would request information from him, from our systems and sizes and things like that. He suggested it's, you know, it's gonna be much more than $10,000. So that's why I'm like, I think the need is there, but I don't want to spend that amount. So I think if we could do it as a facilities group and just walk the building on a day and you know, get a couple people that have maybe some people from the community that have a keen eye for something like that, just to get, at least have a list of, oh, we never even thought about that.
Right.
So. I don't know.
I think
I don't know if they have like a general checklist, you can just go through and, or, you know, I mean, some have a template or something.
Right.
You could kind of come up with your own deal and assess it yourself somewhat, or, you know, get a group together or something, I don't know.
I would say, you know, say have the janitors check everything, you know. Have the janitors put a list together of things that they notice. And maybe, you know, you and I and whoever else wants to go, David. Just do a walkthrough, look at those things and see what else we notice.
Yeah. They have been noticing it almost too well. Every time they walk in my office, I almost want to chase them out, like, oh, I only want good news right now. Another example, you asked about examples, you know, even our fire security system, the company comes in and says, yeah, it's obsolete. Why? Yeah, because we just don't support it anymore. Well, but it still works. Yeah, but it's obsolete. Well, that doesn't really tell us much, you know, it's like,
Other than you just want money.
yeah, so things like that, we're at that age of the building where little weird things are coming up like that makes me cringe, and I hate to even, sometimes I hit send to Bradley and I'm like, yeah, this is what it costs. I don't want, and I think having a plan for that, you know, say, okay, you know, we're doing well financially as a district, can we, if we know certain things are, just like our bus, you know, we've kind of, you know, that's later in the discussion tonight about a bus. Well, we have the money for a bus, it's just when to pull the trigger to spend that. And that's what I want, what he and I have talked about, we want to do is making sure that we have some of these little rainy day funds that cover some of a carpet if we need to, or an issue with with the gym floor or anything like that. So it's not, oh gosh, we have to go to the general fund and deplete that. So I think maybe we could have a facility meeting where we just schedule in a larger chunk of time and just walk the building and with the 6 of us and just see where we're sitting at with that. Would you like me to pursue getting a few quotes for one, just so we have an idea of what it would cost to do a facilities assessment? If nothing else, we feel good about, hey, we just did this and saved 18 grand or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, don't cost you anything to get a quote. I mean, that's.
I'm guessing they probably do it off, what if you're something, or what, maybe, I don't know.
The ones that do this stuff do enough of these studies
Right.
to look at square footage, number of buildings, age of building, and you know, they at least have a pretty good idea what they're gonna.
I guess
gonna
they-
quote, you know,
Ain't it too big a deal?
and at the end of the day, it's all it's a service quote versus a, you know, labor and materials kind of quote, so, you know, they could throw us a bone and match what they charge SMEC or whatever they want, you know, or they could say, hey, you know, you're twice the size, so here's 20 grand, but that's up to them. So, I'd be a lot more comfortable with it, getting a couple of different quotes from some of the different companies that do it, so. Cause you never know when you're gonna get somebody that's got a hole in their schedule and is willing to, you know, do it at a discounted rate and get it done. So,
Good.
Alright, so we'll schedule, I'll see what I can quotes and then we'll schedule a week or a day when we can do this and. We'll go from there. Okay, that is all I have. Thank you.
You bet. Items for action discussion, consider accepting and approving the results from the 2022 Lisle School Board election.
So in your packet is the results. And congratulations to Dave and Krista and Corey. So from January, we'll begin with at least with one new board member and Carrie's on her way out.
Got some votes, so.
2 people wanted you still in.
Aw.
Joel and.
Joel, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
for mom and dad, it'd be mom,
Yeah.
mom and dad.
yeah, you're,
Yeah, they didn't vote for me.
yeah,
They didn't
one of them
like
did
me.
vote for you.
Wow.
Yes,
Just have a talk
geez,
with
yeah,
people.
right.
All right, so
I'll
just need
make
them.
I'll make a
Need
motion
motion?
to approve the results.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I
Opposed? Consider approval. Consider approval of the resolution of governing board supporting Form A application to Minnesota State High School League Foundation.
So this actually is a good thing with the state, actually. They offer, they raise money and this money that we get sent to us is to support families who can't afford their fees to be in sports. So, Bradley and I are aware that we still don't get enough people to go for these in our district. I don't know, we just need to market it even better than we already do, but that's where the, this money comes from, so.
Motion to approve,
I'll make the motion.
second, all in favor? Opposed? Consider the first reading of district policy 418, drug-free workplace, drug-free school.
So this one is a the state or the board, school board association went through and a lot of it just updated with new because there's so many new terms in the world of drug task force and all these different things that are available in the world. So they just updated with the new policy or the new federal or state guideline for gummies and all that stuff. So it just updated that. More clarity with it, so.
Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Selection of meeting date for January Board of Education reorganization meeting.
So again, we have our regular school board meeting. If we follow normal procedures would be around the third weekend, which is the third Wednesday, which is the 18th. We would also need a reorganization meeting where we, bring on the new board members and then also select all the other positions and the long laundry list of things. So, the 4th is the first Wednesday of January, so unless there's a specific date,
I'm fine with that.
Works.
and what time?
You good
Same
with the
time?
fourth?
I needed to have the at six.
Yeah,
Cause you're included now.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, 6 o'clock works for me, works for me,
Perfect.
Okay.
But the fourth works?
yeah,
Okay.
Wednesday, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. I can easily make sure I'm done in time, usually I am, so.
so January 4th, 6 p.m.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion for that.
Consider the purchase of a school bus.
Yeah, our timing is impeccable. So a bus that, what did we spend a couple years ago? 94?
90 something.
Is now
Underneath.
the same general bus is around 118. We'll just round up to 119,000. A diesel is 123. Don, can you share your input on diesel, how it's been, or gas, I should say? Even
The gas bus.
the gas
versus
bus,
diesel
or has there,
Does she like it? Better.
Does she like it?
Well, the gas is quieter. The diesel, yes, we do have, I mean, the cost of death has, it went from what, like $9.99 up to $18, where we were buying it by the box down at Senex now, at the gas station. Gas mileage, I'm not sure, I don't drive the gas.
I don't think it's much different.
I think it's slightly better. It's not
The
incredibly.
diesel. Right,
Long term, I don't know, yeah, no, long term, how they're gonna run.
right.
With the
Long
price
term,
difference, you can
question mark.
kind of buy a little more gas too.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the question, as I said just a minute ago, we set aside money. At that point, we set aside for 2 buses.
Yeah.
Now we can buy 1.5 with the same amount that's sitting in there, but, and so part of it is, one thing that we worked on is getting it into a rotation. Every 3 years, we kind of have a new bus. So the 3 year is about, I think we got the last one January in 3 years ago. So it is time. There are some holdovers. Otherwise, we might be still out 9 to 12 months before we get one. So if we have the time to wait, maybe we approve it, and then we get one in 9 months instead of getting a holdover, and we know who knows what the price difference is gonna be either, but
Can we
That's,
wait? I mean, do we need it? Do we,
no, I'm fine.
nothing's gonna blow up as far as,
I don't think,
as far as you know.
well,
Yeah.
and Frank, and we have the 5. 4? Five? We have 5 buses with, and the 05 that we
so.
haven't really finalized everything with it, but it's there, so.
So was there, the holdovers, maybe 22?
I am not
Pricing on
entirely
holdovers,
sure,
The quotes are 23s.
yeah,
There are 23s.
he never specified that they would be, what year they would be, I guess. So,
Usually when they get a holdover, then
better.
they can work on the price a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where we bought them other ones,
Mhm.
pretty reasonable, because they were holdovers and they want to get rid of them. You know,
If
if
you
if they ain't in the current model year, then they can come off that government pricing or whatever. But
If you've ever followed Old Ford down the road, it lists. You know, it's a 20-year-old bus.
I guess the question, is it needed? Not absolutely, it's not absolute.
no,
But part of why I wanted to bring it up and get the quotes is it could be a long time before we get a new bus.
Yeah.
Just be having the availability, and
mm,
the state is pushing with, propane and
Why isn't there an
and all
electric-
that stuff, electric stuff.
We need an electric
Um,
one. Like has 200-mile life battery, so we could go halfway to Houston.
Yep.
Stop.
And it's
charge.
overnight because we can't charge it up, yeah. Just put
Generator
solar
until-
panels on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pull a trailer with a diesel generator on it.
Good idea.
I don't know, I hate to fall behind on that kind of stuff too, though.
Yeah, I know, no, I
You know.
think we, yeah,
Are we looking for an approval or just some guidance?
I actually just wanted to bring it up if you guys were all,
it worries me that we get, you know. If we have to wait a year.
Yeah.
You know, in a year, we might. You know, 04 is fine, but
Getting there.
well, even.
yeah, we don't wanna
Even
have to.
12 has its own days.
Like I said, the possibility of opening up another route is there.
Yeah, right. That's part of
It
it.
would shorten up some of the routes, it would shorten our time up for picking up the kids. The numbers are getting there.
Yeah, if we had another route, it would change substantially and.
Well, do we need a motion or do you, we just tell you?
Well,
So.
I don't know, I would assume,
Make
yes,
a
we
motion.
would.
You think we
Consider?
should something out or order something? And I mean, I guess.
I think at this point, if it's not an absolute, we could order it and then see how, if something.
I mean, I guess if there ain't no much price difference, I guess it's.
Right,
At this point, it's not in the budget, so I would
Oh.
appreciate it if it was a motion.
oh,
Well, it's there, the money's
We
available,
have
it's
the
just not,
money. It's
Oh.
just, it's not budgeted in the budget that
Gotcha.
we previously approved.
yeah,
We would certainly add it in a revised budget, no
Really?
question, but
wow,
So you wanna wait till 2023?
You
I'm
wanna get,
cool with waiting, but I don't drive the buses.
Well,
So,
1
Uh,
month's not, the only,
Well, I mean, honestly, it's not needed at this moment.
I could get some answers to some of those questions, like what is the,
And then we
what would a
can budget for
holdover
it
cost,
for
just to give a better idea. so
Yeah.
that we-
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
talk.
I think that's a good idea.
And then I can report next month.
because
Okay,
if we honestly end up 9 months out, that's next fiscal year.
right,
Right.
and that would
We
be,
should budget for
and that's
that.
September too, so.
Yeah.
Which,
I would assume they'd be able to get them in 9 months.
in September, having a new bus in September would be the ideal time to have
Right.
a new one, so,
Great.
okay. So,
I would say get gas,
Table till next.
go
month?
gas,
No, just
and then I want a quote on an electric one.
Just for
What about
fun.
the?
Just for fun?
running oil?
well,
At the bus driver's training course,
Yeah.
and they hauled it around on a flatbed, so right.
well,
Yeah,
what they're also talking about is that the funding will pay for half of it.
yeah, I know,
But it's still, you're spending more on it up front, and there's no longevity research on how long it's gonna last either, so.
I know a
So how
bus
many
will
of
last
them
over
sold?
20 years.
But
I know it.
in Minnesota though, well, from.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know how long
Yeah.
a diesel and a gas bus will last. We don't have any.
have you ever
idea.
seen electric car fire?
I don't know. I don't.
Serious stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look it up sometime.
Electric car.
No, have I seen electric car fire?
Yeah.
Not that
Consider the approval of bids for snow removal and van and bus washing.
So. The bid is from Darwin. I don't know where it's in here somewhere. Heather, it's in the last one. He's been very accommodating to us over the years, so.
I make a motion to approve the
I
bids
second
for.
it.
All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?
He deserves a big thank you.
Yes, he does.
Cheaper,
For the
yeah, I'd
times that
say.
He's opened up the shop, how we leave it wet and dirty. The outside power washing we do when you get some ice build up in front of the shop. And I was shocked how old he is. I didn't realize how old Darwin was too, that was a shock I had the other day. They don't last forever. I don't know much.
No,
Any school board member comments?
Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
you.
We're gonna have a big party for you next month.
That's how you do it.
Well, I might forget next one.
Oh,
It's election month, so we have to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Future meeting and calendar updates.
Yeah. so I apologize, I didn't have updates, so. I believe it is 6 and 7:15 for those.
So what are the basketball teams doing to be accommodating?
Ending practices early maybe,
Yep.
or?
We'll probably have practice up here in the,
Yes.
multi-purpose room.
Sweet.
And it's only one nighter, so it is good.
You're working with technique,
Technique.
not line balls.
Hey, I got money for something else.
Want me to
but
go
I-
through them at all?
No.
No, need a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion. Yes.
All in favor?
I.
Opposed?
That little thing.
He was
Oh,
slower
that's
than normal.
No, I'll use